The main thing about Tier 2 support is collaboration with staff, and this could be your teacher librarian, your special ed resource teacher. Maybe you have a English as a second language teacher or English literacy development teacher in your school board that you can access. And having that professional judgment amongst educators is key. And the purpose of Tier 2 is starting where you left off in Tier 1, but it is a more focused and targeted intervention to support the multilingual language learner.
Depending on the available support in the schools, classroom teachers are the main support teachers for the students. They can also ask literacy teachers or the librarian in the school or whoever that is in charge of providing that sort of support, literacy support for the students and teachers at school. It is good to check with the administrators at school and also check and see what other support is available in your board. Some boards have got consultants or regional teachers who are assigned to different schools, so it is important to make sure that we navigate and find out all the available support that is in our school boards. Well, Tier 2 support is very much action-based. We need to know what the strategies has been implemented in Tier 1, what has been or has not been working. Gathering data is very important, using a framework where it also gives a balanced sort of understanding into what the student needs regarding students' prior education, current step, and the next step is very important, and the rest of the team at school are on the same page, and they are supporting the students in that time framework of 6 or 8 weeks, depending on what we are really planning on and how many steps we are going to, skills we are going to see in the step continuum. Number one is that this learning plan, the difference between a growth plan and this ELL growth plan is that we need to make sure that it is step informed. And the strategies and the kind of different sort of guidelines that we are using is aligned with the strategies that we use for any multilingual language learner. Because we should have in our background mind that it needs to be informed by the language acquisition. And then hopefully we are trying to change, implement, add, and remove strategies as much as possible in Tier 2 to make sure that we are using strategies that support MLL students to move up step continuum.
Again, it'll vary from school board to school board depending on the organization, the who's available in the building. But it's teachers working closely with students where we are really taking that inquiry approach and trying to understand what's happening with the students' learning. We're using that data we've collected from the Tier 1 instruction and assessment, and we're using it to try and understand, we're using it to apply strategies, as Farron mentioned, that are targeted for that student. So it could be a teacher working one-on-one, it could be a small group coming together with similar needs, where the teacher, the educator is thinking about those specific goals that are set in the growth plan. And it's really a very fluid process because you're trying strategies and you're switching them out when they're not working. You're trying to understand what's working for the student, what's not. At the same time, we're collecting that ongoing data so that we can come back together and have conversations. Those conversations work best when parents are involved, are integral to that. What is the student doing? Ideally, the student is aware of the goals that have been set for them, and they feel like they are part of this process.
And family. are a very important and core part of this plan. They need to be part of it from day one. Conversation needs to happen on very often sort of base again with the families, knowing what the goals are and how are we planning to get where we need to go.
And really what we're thinking about then is a language acquisition framework, because the goals are about understanding the language acquisition growth.
Absolutely.
This one's a tricky question because I know as teachers we often see surface behaviors of the students who are learning a new language and could be similar to a student who may possibly have a learning need in a special education context. So what I think is most important is to make careful observations over time in various contexts and settings. And sometimes these surface behaviors may lead teachers to make incorrect assumptions about learners, but these same behaviors in one student may have different causes. So we have to ask and use our professional judgment if the multilingual language learner is experiencing difficulties in only English language learning, or is it in all contexts?
Comparing the language acquisition behavior and the possibility of a persistent challenges, the key is that one of the most important factors is it something that is also seen or observed in the first language of the students? Otherwise, we may consider thinking about moving toward tier 3.